Nobody's popping or pussy in the ESC.
You know we're live right now, right?
It's too late.
Damage is done.
Oh God. Ridiculous. These videos go clear on name as a all the lies. The lies must be true.
I wonder. Okay.
That's right.
So the audio.
No way. More.
It's not the regular time.
Huh?
It's not the regular time.
Yeah, but
We don't have the intro anymore. Other videos like this more is over here playing games.
Yeah.
You don't want to go live.
All right, so I'm just gonna kick it off.
Well, I think Ellie already did that.
That's the grand opening. So there's a video made about me. Well, it wasn't really about me. It's titled Moorish American Consulate and Dirty Moors. It's two parts. Rami Salam El made the video. In the first video, he mentioned my name specifically. Also in the video, he clarified for the record that he has not done any research on anyone involved in the Moorish American Consulate. He also admitted that he just hasn't done any research at all about the Moorish American Consulate in general. But he continued to share his opinion, which he stated for the record, it is his opinion. He shared his opinion anyway, and he didn't necessarily call me dirty, like specifically, but in the title it says "and dirty Moors," and my name was mentioned. When he mentioned my name, he did say that I'm intelligent. I take that as a compliment, but I was tied in with Moors using like Taj Tariq Bey, like his image, his likeness, or taking pictures of him or whatever. Moors using that to like solidify their position or whatever. So I just want to clarify for the record that before I was even part of the Moorish American Consulate, I was already teaching and doing the work. Right. Also, it's funny that he says that because he posted this video July 12th, something like that. Yeah, he updated his picture, not January 12th, but he updated his picture with Taj 2 days before that. So he's doing exactly what the other Moors, what he's saying dirty Moors do to solidify their position. He did the same exact thing. Just to point that out. Then once I got the video, I messaged him. He thought I blocked him on my personal Facebook, but anyone who's had me as a friend on Facebook can see I just deleted my Facebook, my personal one. So this is the Rise of the Moors Facebook. So I messaged him. I said, "Peace, Moor. This is Jamal Abdullah Bey, Jamal's Flicks," because that's what he referenced me as in his video, because that was the name of our channel before we changed it. Then I said, "I'd like to speak, excuse the typo, to you peacefully about the video you made on the consular court." Then I said, "Of course, I cannot address everything because some of the information was not about me, but I'd like to address the things that were, as well as my recent trip to Chicago, Mecca, and my experience with the temple claiming to be number one, because the Moors that I spoke to there, the head of that temple was claiming to be a Supreme Grand Sheikh, which if you're claiming to be a Supreme Grand Sheikh, you're claiming to be part of the Supreme Grand Council, which one of Rami Salam El's arguments was, why establish a consulate and not try to reestablish or whatever, kindle the Supreme Grand Council. So I wanted to share with him that experience that I had with a Supreme Grand Sheikh who claimed to claim that title, but he said, I'm paraphrasing, that there's Moors and different groups arguing with each other, and he just stays away from it. But if anyone knows the actual duty of the Supreme Grand Council, you'll see that he's in direct violation. So I wanted to share that with him, either on his platform or in private, and I was going to state that person's name, since Rami always talks about I shouldn't say always, but in that video, he addressed the Supreme Grand Council. So I said, feel free to contact me, and I put my number, which it's public on the consulate, so there's no need for me to hide it. A text beforehand will make so I definitely answer, as I receive a lot of calls. If you'd like to do it on your YouTube platform, I'm open to do that as well. Peace more. You have taught me a lot, because when I first started learning, I would watch his videos all the time. And then I'll show you an older email from before I even started doing this, where I emailed him about the Supreme Grand Council, and it never went anywhere. So his response was, there's no need to speak privately about the Moorish American consulate or consulators. If you are sincere about being a Moorish American, about representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, about following the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, then you can make a public video speaking about the Supreme Grand Council. That's if you are sincere. If not, it's all love, I understand. Then I put peace. The intro to my first book speaks about the importance of the Supreme Grand Council. And the class I did last week, this was January 14, 2019. I spoke about it again. I'm not sure exactly why you made the video, so I figured that I should reach out since my name was mentioned. Peace and love. So just for the record, this is my first book. My first book, Are You Confused About Law? You can get it on risingmoors.org. Right. Let's just open it. Right, that's one page. 2 pages in, you'll see the Supreme Grand Council. I mentioned the Supreme Grand Council right there. Right? Or the 7 eyes of Allah. Right? The Grand Body, the Supreme Grand Council, etc., etc., etc. Right, my first book. And this came out last year, right?
Yeah.
Over 100 copies sold. So his main argument was, you know, if you're sincere, you would talk about the Supreme Grand Council. It's in my book. So that knocks that argument out the way as it relates to me. Additionally, this is an email from September 11, 2017. So if you want to zoom in for the camera so that people can see that. The dates right there. I think is it inverted?
Yeah, it won't be on the live though.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. So you'll see this is from Jamal's Flicks to him. This is his email. The imhhtemple@gmail.com. This was at 10:23 a.m. If my memory serves me correctly, when I did have Facebook, I messaged him on Facebook first, and then it resulted in this email. Because it says, let me know what you think, or if there's any relation to the direction you had in mind, because I was responding to an older video that he did on the Supreme Grand Council when I was first learning, and I wanted to help him in his efforts to establish this thing because it's important. So I took it upon myself to write this document to help him and his whatever I thought he was trying to do to promote this thing. So I titled it The 7 Eyes of Allah, the Supreme Grand Council. And I'll just read the whole thing just for the record instead of me paraphrasing it. It says, we Moors must maintain a grand treasurer just as in the days of our forefathers. Then you are a nation. Until then, you are nothing. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Then it says, Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They're the vanguard of the Moorish movement. As the Moorish hordes increase here in America, all Moors are active, not passive. Because when I was first learning, I would see Ram Islam El talk about the Supreme Grand Council. So I figured, you know, he's one of those people who are sincerely interested, and I considered him a vanguard of the movement. Because only someone who is genuinely interested would share that information and not charge people to do so. So I took it upon myself to write this document and to support him. So I started off with an attempt to continue on with the movement principle of this beloved Moorish divine and national movement. It has come to the attention to most, if not all, active Moors that there is no active Supreme Grand Council. And remember, this is September 11th, 2017, I wrote this, to him. The one that mentioned me in the video with Dirty Moors, right? Blah, 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 blah. As it is an issue of utmost importance, founded by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, for the continued administration of the movement and temples. 7 men exclusively chosen by the Prophet, tried and true and accepted by the Grand Body, were to be the official Congress, quote unquote, Congress of the nation, which is exactly what it is, right? Charged with not that much. Charged with regulating the affairs and properties of the Moorish Science Temple of America, as well as being the sole judge of what constitutes conduct as it relates to the movement and temples, to be the sole judge and interpreters as to what documents and or actions align with the prophet and the movement. So the it's the Supreme Grand Council's job to do what Rami Salam El is trying to do with the consulate and by mentioning my name. So even within his actions, he's exercising authority that he does not have. Because only the prophet said, the prophet said only the Supreme Grand Council can do this. So there's already conflict in his actions and what he's saying, right? But this video isn't to knock him, it's just to put things in perspective. Like, I've been talking to you about this. I've been trying to help you do this. So why is my name being used now in relation to dirty Moors, as if I'm not genuine, right? Etc. They are to be the mediators on issues of controversy between temples and members. They're the vanguard of the movement, and in my opinion, will be the representatives of the nation at large, whom should have the power to determine and establish new temples and territories of this North American continent, to which they do not exist, to help the prophet in his continued great missionary work to teach all Moorish Americans that they are not Negro, black, coloreds, and now Spanish, Indians, Latin Americans, because at this time, we didn't have a temple here. So because I know in order for us to get a charter temple, it would have to be chartered by the Supreme Grand Council. I'm not a dummy. That's why we haven't claimed to the Moors, oh, we're an actual legitimate temple, because that's a violation. So it's not only a personal insult against me, what he did, but to our entire body of Moors. Because we could have been out here claiming to be, we're the real Moorish Science Temple and all this BS, and that's exactly what we're not doing. That's why I went to Chicago for myself and tried to get a charter. And then seeing the charter on these dirty Moors wall with the lifted signature of the prophet, and they colored it in red to make it seem legit. And I didn't go through their add-up chamber and claim to be the grand chief under them, because they're sellouts. So how dare anyone compare me to that? Especially with this existing 2017 with the person, you know what I mean? Like how more redundant do I have to be, right? Then it says, I continue by saying, as long as there are Moors who do not know their forefathers and foremothers' ancient and divine creed, who do not know their higher self and lower self, do not know their nationality and birthrights, then I need to say there is work enough for all of us to do in helping build a better world, which is a quote directly from the prophet. So instead of trying to knock someone down, why not just keep continually doing the work? You rarely see us at Rising the Moors do videos like this because we're busy doing the work. If you don't believe me, go to risingthemoors.org, go to public information, you'll see cases dismissed. If you watch our classes last Saturday, you'll see another case dismissed. So if he was really serious about the Supreme Grand Council, why are you doing a video on the Moorish American Consulate?
Don't even worry about it.
And then why are you even mentioning my name? Like, what? Especially with this is proof. I wrote this to him.
If that's your goal, then just work on making that a reality.
Exactly. So let me just continue. I don't want this to be a dragged out video. The Supreme Grand Council is charged with maintaining a grand treasurer, as the prophet has also stated, a beggar nation cannot attain the highest in them, so long as European colonists who have overthrown our republic and form of government maintain administrative control over our fiat, or money, whatever, it doesn't matter. They will continue to control the wealth and energies of our people. Knowing this, our divine prophet made it a point to mention the fact that we will never be a nation of people until we have our own treasury. Then and only then we'll be better equipped to administrate our own wealth and energies, which we've talked about that multiple times here at Rising the Moors, even in our Trust Law 101 and Trust Law 102 classes, so nothing's changed, right? This is but one of the many issues our people face today. So instead of knocking anyone down trying to pursue one of the many issues, just pursue one of the many issues. not people, okay, this body of Moors are trying to implement this side of what's needed within our nation. Why trying to knock them down instead of just doing what you do, right? To include the continued police terrorism within our communities of denationalized Moors who do not have their own sheriffs within their communities to combat this type of abuse. From the theft of their private properties to imprisonment for nonviolent crimes such as possession of medicinal plants and the like, the issues we face today have not gotten any better, and they will not get any better until Supreme Grand Council is active, which is exactly what he said in the recent video. I said this 2017, right? Well-known and deeply established and honorable, deeply established and honored by all Moorish Americans and temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, to address this part, the Moorish American consulate can't do this because another thing Rami Islam always talks about is where did the Prophet mention the a Moorish American consulate? He didn't expressly mention a consulate. He implied it. If any competent Moor reads what Rami Islam said, he's been studying for 7 years, read the Prophet's divine warning by the Prophet to the nations, where he talks about the 14th and 15th Amendment and how it's not necessary for the salvation of our people. He talks about us declaring our nationality and other nations placing their trusts upon issues born by our forefathers, referencing the treaty. Period. How do you address a treaty in court as it relates to two separate nations? It's consular court. It says a right in Article 6 of the Constitution and mentioned in Article 20 and 21 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And the Prophet said, if I taught you everything, you'd go back to sleep. But when Moors present that to him, he says, you're avoiding the question. That's directly answering the question. The Prophet didn't expressly say that, he implied it. And any thinking person who knows jurisprudence, who knows law and knows history knows that. Right? Continuing. So this I was trying to help him notify a bunch of people to get this thing started. Right? So I continue by saying, notice is given to all temples within the Moorish Science Temple of America, the backbone of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, the backbone of it. Right? Honors to the temple. That the Prophet established that. Right? To present those selected members of your specific temples to be the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America in efforts to reestablish and or amend the Supreme Grand Council. This will be the only notice and failure to respond places those temples and grand chiefs in a default status. Because when I wrote this, I'm not trying to play no games like there's no, well, I didn't know, or we need more time. No, this is something that needs to be done. This is, again, 2017, right? Blah, 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 whereby they waive their right to present its representatives. Because if we're going to have 7 members represent the entire country, we need each temple to select their best to run for that position, and then we vote out of those people. What's confusing about that? Instead of doing a video on the Moorish American consulate, why didn't he present this? This is half the work, right? That I did in 2017, right? Blah, 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 blah. And they consent to the members of the grand body chosen by those active Moors who participate in this committee of the grand body election process, as well as agree to be subject to all decrees and decisions of the newly elected, temporarily or otherwise permanent Supreme Grand Council, meaning that's something that we were going to litigate amongst Moors, meaning no one person is in charge of this, right? Then I put each temple is hereby given blank amount of days, because this is something that we're supposed to negotiate, as Moors, to respond to this affidavit being sent via certified mail, uploaded to whatever website we're going to put it on, and submitted to the below mentioned newspapers, because I was thinking, put it in Abdul's newspaper so we can get the word out, actually do the work, not just sit back, do videos and complain, right? Blah, 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 blah. Here's the freaking record. Blah, 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 blah. Granted the authority, just there it is. There was no need for him to mention my name at all. So I wrote that to him again. What just happened? All right. So again, that was September 11, 2017 at 10:23 a.m. For the record. Mess up the camera.
I know.
You all off.
No. Let me give it a minute, because it's
Right.
tiny.
I wrote that to him. Right? So I wrote that to him. This is what he said. Peace. Thank you for working on this writ. Amazing work. It is along the lines of what I was thinking. If I can add my perspective, I want to pivot away from, or I want us to direct our thinking as it relates to compliance. I understand we have to get things moving and can't wait for others to get on board. But if we must move forward, I want it to be after giving everyone fair notice first, so nobody can say, well, I didn't know about the Supreme Grand Council, or I never received this letter, etc. That's why I put. But that's why I put in the letter. We'll give it to different Moorish newspapers. We'll put it on websites, and we'll put the word out there. right? This is what continue with what he said.
Not even we could contact the temples.
Listen, this was 2017. He could have pursued this, so let's not even make arguments now.
And he has a huge
serious,
audience. We have a decent sized audience. You know, we sell books to all throughout the nation, and somebody could have went over there on our behalf and delivered the letter. We could have sent it certified mail to these temples.
To Chicago. We could have served them then. How many times have we been to Delaware? We could have served them then. We have, Cujo's information. We could have asked him to be on board with it. This could have been done. Again, this is 2017. So don't bring up Jamal Toledo Dula Bay's name now in 2019 and try to slander me. That's crazy. Right? So continue with what he said. I would like for us to format the purpose of the Supreme Grand Council very clearly, why the prophet already did that with maybe bullet points or an intended section. So in this letter, it also fully informed them on what the Supreme Grand Council is and charges them with the responsibility to put it. So instead of saying any of this, what he could have done is added to the document I already wrote so we can go forward. Right? Blah, 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 blah. Then my response, blah, 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 blah. And he never responded. So he can't then say in 2019 that, oh, I messaged the brother and he deleted me on Facebook when I just deleted my Facebook, period. It wasn't about him. And then he can't say I emailed him and never responded. When I emailed you in 2017, you didn't say anything. So don't try to slander me like I'm doing something crazy.
Yeah.
And I gave him the opportunity to message me directly in 2019. Let's be serious, right? Then let's go to also Rising Moore's Facebook, right? Because again, he said he did zero study on anyone involved in the consulate, and he did zero study on the consulate in general. Then he tried to. This is what Moors always try to do. They always try to shit on the consulate, excuse my language, and then exempt Tashreeq Bey, right? So let's go to the commissioning ceremony of the Moorish American consulate, which is on YouTube, that anyone can see, where Tashreeq Bey is there signing our commission papers. So you can't shit on the consulate and then exempt Taj and then call other people out. That's crazy. And then try to say, well, I speak to him and I have his number. I have his number too. I can show you text messages of him responding to me like, let's not play this game. Let's stop name dropping. Either you're going to do the work or you're not going to do the work, right? So this is on YouTube, Tashreeq Bey, the rudder and sexton. This was a commissioning ceremony of the consular court where Tashreeq Bey is there himself. So stop, I don't want to say the brother's ego tripping, but Moors in general, stop ego tripping. Excuse the ad, I'm not trying to say something. This YouTube tripping. Even YouTube ego tripping. Right.
When was that email?
The email I sent to him?
Yeah.
That was September, let me get the exact date. September 11th, 2017 at 10:23 a.m.
And your first video was September 19th.
Really?
2017.
Dope. Right. So this is the ceremony. Look, that's Tashreeq Bey right there. I think that's Sharon right there. That's Light right there. That's Delilah right there. That's me right there. And that's Shalay Moore right there. And the only reason why OT Bey isn't here is because he was pulled over that day, which currently now, 2019, he's no longer part of the Moorish American consulate, period. Don't care what type of old documents he's showing Moors, he's not part of it. So again, if just like Rami Salam El said, if I was genuinely interested in the Moorish movement, I would do a video on the Supreme Grand Council. If he was genuinely, honestly interested in just exposing anyone, he would have did the proper research and found this video.
Didn't you tag him in it?
Yes, I did, and he said nothing, so I'm going to show that. It's crazy, yo. It's crazy. I messaged you 2017 and you do a video about me 2019. That's crazy. So actually, I didn't tag him in it. Someone else tagged him in it. I said, I wonder why people say Tashreeq Bey does not support the consulate court. This is a new video. This is a new video of Tashreeq Bey talking about the consulate court. Right? So someone ended up tagging him in it. Let me see. So once I noticed that someone tagged him in it, I decided to speak to him. See if I can find it. Oops, I keep pressing hide. All right, so let's just go down. To my comment right here. I told Rami Salam L, feel free to get a copy of my first book, and you'll see I wrote about the Supreme Grand Council. You can also watch my YouTube videos where I even talk about members who I personally elect to that position, you being one of them, along with Cujo Taj and Anna Ida L. And if you don't believe me, go to my YouTube, right? Look up Ken Moore's Vote. And you'll see at the 45-minute mark, I talk about the Supreme Grand Council, and I even mentioned Rami Salam L, but I messed up his title and said Rami Salam Bey. But I knew exactly what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? So again, if anyone's gonna do a video about me, please do research. But here's the video; it exists. Then I did another video a few weeks ago remember we projected on that wall, and I talked about what? The Supreme Grand Council, because there's individual Moors sitting at home, not just Rami Salam L. There's other Moors sitting at home, not being in a group of Moors, just talking crap about other people. Especially
a group that is actually getting people together and building community in their area.
So my point is they'd rather not do that and just do a video at home and exercise powers of the Supreme Grand Council that they do not have. Only the Supreme Grand Council can say what is injurious and what is not injurious to the Moorish Science Temple of America. So Rami Salam L himself can't even say that the consular court is injurious to the Moorish Science Temple of America. He's not even qualified to say that because he's not elected to sit in that seat. So how dare you say, I haven't done any research on this and then continue to speak on the matter. Knowing that you have a certain following, knowing that Moors listen to you, knowing that your position, your ex officio position in the movement is important. Because I was the one who would listen to Rami Salam L because I can tell he was a genuine person. You know what I'm saying? So knowing that you can't move like that. Being in this position, especially him saying he's been studying this for 7 years, you should know that. You should know you can't move like that. You can't just call Moors dirty and expect things to be fine. That's a severe violation within the Moorish community right now.
Especially when you reached out to him to clarify.
In 2017, first of all.
The misunderstanding.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's it. Still peace and love to the Moor. I have no personal animosity towards anyone. I really don't care. It's just don't throw dirt on my name and not know what you're talking about. Especially when I emailed you in 2017 about the Supreme Grand Council, which now you're trying to throw dirt on me saying I don't even talk about it. That's insane. I didn't even get to the point where I tagged him in the video. All right. Then Rami Salam L said, how many videos have you done teaching, analyzing, reviewing, or even simply reading the statements of Nawud Ali about the Supreme Grand Council? As if he's qualified to even check my qualification. Like, who are you? You're not even in the seat. Only Supreme Grand Council member can do that. Like, what are you doing?
And it's on the record, we keep an account of classes.
Yeah, and then I said 3, maybe 4. And at this time, I was in Lowell, Massachusetts, helping a Moor get out of jail. So that's why I said, here's one of the videos. Then he said, thank you, do you have any others? And I said, yes, I just don't remember which videos. I'll find it when I get my laptop because I was out helping another Moor.
And that was videos specifically on the Grand Council.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is the video where at the 45-minute mark, I talk about the Supreme Grand Council, and shortly after, I just briefly say who I would elect for that position because it's so vital to the movement. So again, please don't, anyone, well, do whatever the hell you want because I don't really care, but don't tarnish my name as if I'm doing something crazy. Yeah. When all you got to do is this right here, riseofthemoors.org. Go to public information. You'll see cases dismissed. Ask any of these Moors how much I charge them. $0. Except for this Moor right here, he asked me to type up this affidavit, so I charged him for paper and ink and the cost it took me to mail it to him and the seals. That's it. So don't talk crazy about my name. That's crazy. It's a crime. It's called defamation of character. It's a crime to slander someone. So you can't mention my name with dirty Moors and expect and think that's fine. Not only that, but hold on. Let me go to this. Let me go to a record here at our temple that we established for the Moors, not robbing people and buying new houses and new cars. We got a temple for the Moors. Let's check our records. Want to put the camera over here?
Yeah.
Here's another Moor. Right. I sent a written prohibition to the New Hampshire. Let me see, what is it? The state of New Hampshire, Hillsborough County, New Hampshire, for this case that this Moor is facing. A writ of prohibition, meaning since he's not one of your citizens, don't speak to him. And what happened? It got dismissed. Now ask the Moor how much I charged him, just for the paper and ink and the seal. Moors need to stop talking crazy. And this is the seal from New Hampshire. Case dismissed. Moors need to stop doing videos about Jamal and help the people. Give the people remedy. Stop doing videos about Jamal. Talking crazy. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Peace.
Bye.